Not here. Good evening, and welcome to the school committee meeting of May 25th, 2022. My name is Lindsay Heffernan, and I'm the chairperson of this committee. Before we begin tonight, I would like to ask my colleagues and those present to observe a moment of silence with me. First, for Kaya Providence, a Shrewsbury student who passed away on May 13th, 2022, after a lengthy battle with cancer just weeks before her 17th birthday. And second, of course, in honor of the in memory of the many lives lost in yesterday's horrific shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Thank you. As is our custom, I'd like to thank Mark, Sarah, and members of the Shrewsbury Media Connection for recording and live broadcasting this event. This meeting will be rebroadcast on Channel 29 between now and our next regularly scheduled school committee meeting on June 8th, and is also, of course, available on the SMC YouTube channel. The first item we have on our agenda tonight is public participation, though nobody has expressed an interest in addressing the committee this evening. However, in the future, if anyone wishes to participate in this portion of our meeting, they should contact the chairperson prior to beginning the meeting, and once recognized, may have up to 3 minutes to present their material. The committee will, of course, also review and consider any written comments which may be presented to us before or after our meetings. Next item on the agenda is chairperson and members' reports. Anything from my colleagues? I would like to take just a quick moment and thank the members of town meeting for their support of our school budget this past Saturday, May 21st, of $79.3 million. That's the very last step in the budget creation process that we began last fall. And I'd also like to note and thank two members of our 8th grade class who reached out to the school committee and to address issues they saw in supporting religious diversity through our school calendar. I was pleased to meet with two of those students along with Dr. Sawyer and their teacher, Mr. Allen, last week, and I would note that this is one piece of an engaging civics program that we've brought into that 8th grade level, and it's nice to see how our students are using their voice to bring about changes that they think need to be made in our district locally. And with that, I think no one else has anything else. We'll turn it over to our next item on the agenda, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Sawyer.
Thank you, Ms. Heffernan. I would also like to extend my condolences to the Providence family. Kaya Providence joined us at Sherwood Middle School. She's a member of the class of 2022, was battling cancer ever since she joined us over many years, and valiantly. Mr. Bazidlo, in his message to the school community when Kaya passed, talked about how people described her as funny, always upbeat, possessing an infectious smile, and that her courage and determination to attend school as much as possible when facing this terrible illness speaks volumes about what her strength of character. And that Kaya's work ethic and positive outlook on life should serve as a model for every member of our school community. I think that captures Kaya's spirit well, and we certainly offer our sincere condolences not only to her family, but to her classmates and all the educators, paraprofessionals, administrators, and especially school nurses who work closely with Kaya and her family over the years. And we know that it's been a very difficult time of grief for them. I'd also like to speak a bit about our response to the horrific school shootings in Texas. We all, of course, grieve for the 19 children and 2 teachers who were viciously murdered in the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. In America, we once again bow our heads in a moment of silence in response to senseless killings of innocents in what should be a sanctuary of learning. Our leadership team convened last evening after we learned of this awful news. Unfortunately, we have a playbook for communicating about something that shouldn't happen in the first place, never mind over and over again. From Columbine to Sandy Hook to Parkland, now Uvalde, and those are just the shootings, of course, that have the greatest body count. Messages about such things shouldn't be so routine that you can copy and paste from a previous one. So part of my job as superintendent is to reassure our community that our schools are safe. I'm confident that they are. just as all schools statistically are very safe places for children and for staff. Our schools are made safer by all of our safety and security protocols and our drills and our excellent working relationship with our public safety partners, the Shrewsbury Police and Shrewsbury Fire Departments. Our schools are also safe because our staff work very hard to create a culture of unconditional acceptance for all of our students, and because our educators and support staff and administrators keep an eye out when things are amiss with a student and intervene to provide support and help to students who need it. We're not perfect at this, but we do our level best to make sure that students who are in need or in crisis or something's off, that we are working with them and with their families. We know that we make our schools safer when we do everything we can to prevent bullying and humiliation of students, and where we provide support for students who are struggling with emotional and mental health. We know that school shootings can stem from students who are disaffected and who show warning signs in one way or another before committing those atrocities. We emphasize to our students that if something is off about a fellow student or it doesn't just feel right or it's clearly dangerous or destructive or disturbing, to please say something by telling a trusted adult. We know when students have a trusted adult who knows them and who has positive regard for them in the school community, it reduces risk. In fact, in a study where researchers interviewed students who had planned a school shooting but changed their minds at the last minute, everyone said they did so because an adult reached out and made a connection with them that gave them hope. I'm glad that we will have more resources to help students and to support families with mental health issues next year. That's clearly one way that we are not only going to help students who are struggling, but also reduce risk for our entire school community. These are concrete things that we can do as a school district to respond to what I think is a sickness in American society that's manifested by the massacre of innocent people in schools, in places of worship, in supermarkets. What we don't have direct control over is that in too many places in America, weapons of mass murder are too easily accessible to people who then use those tools to slaughter innocent victims. My role as superintendent is also to tell you, our community, what I believe is necessary to keep our children safe and sound. While thankfully here in Massachusetts, the risk of being a victim of gun violence is lower than other parts of our country, it still exists. And while the risk of school violence is low, we still must prepare for that chance no matter how slight it might be. I wish that weren't necessary, but it is. And because we are part of a nation where mass murder incidents continue to happen, we are all affected and diminished by the anxiety and fear that naturally is felt in response to the horrific news of these events. And I'm angry that we have to focus our energy on responding when these happen and to doing all that we can to prevent them from happening here. I know very well there are different political views on gun access and regulation. However, it's very clear that a vast majority of us in America support pragmatic steps to reduce the likelihood of gun violence. I don't particularly care what the politics are. What I care about is that we as a nation need to take reasonable and responsible actions that better protect our fellow citizens from being shot by evil and deranged individuals wielding weapons of war, especially our children. No one should harbor fear and anxiety that they might be randomly killed when going about their daily lives, not when attending religious services, not when shopping for groceries, and certainly not when going to school. Our children and the dedicated educators who teach them should not have to worry about their safety at school. I agree with those who say that gun violence in all of its forms is a public health crisis in America, one that shatters the lives of those who are directly affected and that indirectly degrades all of our lives. We will continue to take steps in our schools to address the things that are within our control, but I'm urging everyone who is watching and listening to reflect on what each of us can do to make it less likely that these slaughters of innocents keep happening in America. Because until we the people decide to change as a nation, we can be certain that schools across the USA will be sending, all too frequently, the same kinds of messages after the next shooting, and the next, and the next. Copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. That's Superintendent's report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Sawyer. I'd like to move to our next agenda item, which is a time-scheduled appointment, and that is the district response to the pandemic. Dr. Sawyer, an opportunity for you or your leadership team to provide any update on where we are with the COVID-19 pandemic at this time.
Thank you. Just gonna bring these slides up. Although I'm not finding the AirPlay on here, so hold on one second, please.
Certainly.
So maybe,
Should we
Madam
take
Chair,
this
if we
out of
might just
order?
ask for a brief recess, just because for a technical issue here, we're not, I'm not seeing the signal here for the, so I can connect, and I know we have some slide presentations coming up as well. So if we can maybe take just a
Sure.
2-minute brief recess
Absolutely.
and see if Ms. Poplawski can help us.
It's 7:12. This committee stands in recess for a few moments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gavel back in, the Shrewsbury School Committee meeting of May 25th, 2022. And Dr. Sawyer, we were just turning over to you for a district response on the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you, and my apologies for the technical difficulties there, totally user error. Again, our primary goal for the school year is to provide full-time in-school learning for students, minimizing those disruptions and mitigating strategies, using those strategies to minimize the risk of contracting COVID. We've implemented those strategies. We've worked to create a sense of belonging to support students' social, emotional, and mental health needs. And we've worked to provide learning opportunities that support students' academic needs. And I think overall, we've had a successful year. State-wise, we know that we have been experiencing a surge in COVID. You can see that the positivity rate across the nation, only one place is below the 5% benchmark established by the World Health Organization, as reported by Johns Hopkins. Relative to the rest of the nation, we're relatively low, but higher than we'd like it to be. These, of course, are lab tests that get officially reported now with the shift to so many rapid tests at home. I would suspect that more people who are symptomatic are getting PCR tests as opposed to more of the surveillance testing in the past, just due to the prevalence of the rapid tests. The 7-day rate in Massachusetts, you can see over time, has been moving up over the last couple of reports. In terms of Massachusetts cases by age, for ages 0 to 9, a little more than double compared to the May 2nd report we made. And for teens, not quite doubling over that amount of time. But this is on a per 100,000 person basis, so still relatively low for younger individuals. Interesting is that the highest group are those in their 20s, those more on the elderly side, not as dramatic as we'd seen in the past. However, as far as hospital admissions, of course, it is those who are elderly who are most at risk of hospital admission. It has gone up in terms of where they were for younger people compared to the last report, but still very low. And we know that public health authorities have described that this surge has been different in that the impact in terms of the level of illness has not been the same as we've seen with other surges in the past. There's hard to see from this longitudinal piece, but there is some good news on the wastewater front in terms of COVID numbers starting to trend down again. So we're hopeful that that's a good sign of what we'll be experiencing in the coming days and weeks. This is the Upper Blackstone, and this is the Boston measurement. And of course, we still remain well below the surge that happened in December and January of this past year. Locally, you can see there are students in Shrewsbury numbers on the right-hand side compared to the overall town of Shrewsbury numbers. Again, these numbers are a little different than when the numbers were virtually all reported based on lab tests. The student reports, those are almost all reports from families telling us about a rapid test that's happened. In the town of Shrewsbury, official numbers are just those that are in the public health system. The 14-day positivity rate in Shrewsbury is a little over 12%, again, much higher than we'd like it to be. And our current case count this week is trending very similar to last week with 88 cases so far since Saturday, and 84 of those students being in school at some point during their infectious period. That's over 2,650 cases for the school year now at this point, with over 1,700 being in school when they were infectious. This is our day-by-day chart. So you can see obviously the uptick here in May. In the week-to-week chart, we saw a downward number last week after a more recent peak of 142 down to 109 for the last full week. And we're trending at about that same level for this week. We'll see what happens over the next few days. This is the COVID case numbers by school. Once again, of course, that's sensitive to the size of school. And grade by grade comparison, where our fifth grade continues to be the highest number of cases, not far behind is fourth grade. And you can see there our preschoolers with the lowest number, and you can see it spread across the pre-K to 12 spectrum there. Just a reminder of the relative number of student cases to staff cases. As far as absences, April we saw 5.2%, and then it's ticked up to about a percentage point since then. You may recall when we were looking at, when we rescinded the mask requirement, we're looking at sort of an 8% absentee rate as something that over a period of time that would we'd be looking at, potentially interacting with public health, but we are remaining below that threshold. And that's just a visual view of the absences over the course of May. And just a reminder again that our primary goal is to maintain our in-person schooling. We're coming down the home stretch. We certainly, are seeing cases in the schools. We follow the protocols relative to exclusion and quarantine and so on. There are still, say, probably, you know, as we've had this surge, we're seeing more people wearing masks in the schools, which again is their choice. But we have not seen any significant clusters. You know, we certainly see some evidence of places where it's likely been spread within the school with, you know, 2, 3 people from the same classroom perhaps, staff who work together, but not on any scale that would concern us, that we would consider to be an outbreak, so to speak. So pretty well spread across the different schools, and of course there is lots of exposure outside of school as well. But overall, we've been steady, managing through the absences. We've been better with substitute teachers as people have been coming back to work and being more willing to work in the school environment. And overall, I think it's a good news story that the stability that we have, and looking forward, hopefully, to the cases moving downward again over the last several weeks of school. I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee has.
Any questions?
Just one, obviously, you know, not great news to see the cases continue to rise, although obviously the long-term trends still look to be in our favor. Is it still the case, Dr. Sawyer, that we're not seeing a lot of students experiencing significant symptoms?
We are not, and you know, Ms. Freeman is here as well, but we have not seen hospitalizations of students. We have not seen significant, typically, it's been described as typically cold or allergy-like symptoms that most people experience. I don't want to diminish the reality that there are those who are affected longer term by COVID. We have I would say, a very small number of cases of students who we know have had some lingering effects over time. But that's a very small minority of the student cases that we're aware of. And so it really, particularly, I think even more so anecdotally over this recent surge, mild symptoms seem to be the rule.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sawyer, for the report. Certainly wish for the end of school activities to continue as safely as possible. We all like having them all back in, and wish good health to everybody here in Shrewsbury. All right, moving to our next agenda item. We have a report from the Student Advisory Committee. I'd welcome you to come on up. And as a reminder for those who are here, under the Massachusetts Education Reform Act, school districts are required to have a student advisory committee consisting of 5 high school students who are elected by the student body. Looks like we have 4 here with us this evening. And they meet with the school committee during the year to review issues of concern coming from the high school. I also see Mr. Andrew Smith in the audience, who is a social science teacher at the high school and serves as their advisor. And school committee members did receive your agenda in advance. This would be our last meeting with you for the year, and I would turn it over to you to maybe do some introductions and remind us all who we have with us. Thank you.
Sure. Hello, my name is Nikita Ram. I am a senior, and I am also the chairperson of the Student Advisory Committee. Thank you so much for having us here today to share our final agenda. My fellow members will now go down the line and introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Anushka Mukhopadhyay, and I'm a senior.
My name is Laura Lee, and I'm a junior.
My name is Risha Parikh, and I'm a senior.
As you may have noticed, Shalini Biju will not be able to make it to this meeting today because she is competing in a speech and debate national tournament in Washington, D.C. However, we would like to congratulate her and Laura Lee for being re-elected to the SAC for next year. End of the year wrap-up. Students at Shrewsbury High School are at the end of the 2021 to 2022 school year and are preparing for their next year at SHS.
Elections. Through the weeks of April 25th to May 20th, elections for Student Council, Student Advisory Committee, and class officers took place. The election process mirrored a democracy. Students had to get 20 nominations and 2 teacher signatures to get their names on the ballot. Candidates running put up flyers and posters all around the school to advertise. Videos of speeches were played during homeroom, and students were given the opportunity to vote through a Google form. The results were released last week, and we are happy to announce that our 2 juniors will be returning to SAC next year.
AP exams. As the 2021 to 2022 school year comes closer to an end, juniors and seniors have wrapped up 2 weeks of AP exams. Students have worked hard to learn the difficult content in AP classes throughout the year, such as chemistry and literature. Although many felt stressed about exams, students are relieved that their AP classes will soon be over.
Final exams. As the school year is finally coming to an end, finals are coming up. This is the first time SHS is having semester end testing since 2019. Finals are now 10% of students' semester grade. Students are very appreciative of this change compared to the previously being 20%. Some seniors have taken most or all of their finals prior to AP exams, while other seniors are exempt from taking finals if their grade is over an 87 in certain classes.
Student life. Students are excited to participate in school-run events and are thrilled to display their success in the classes they are taking in school.
Spirit Week and school dances. From April 11th to 15th, SHS held their Spring Spirit Week. The week started off with Class Color Day, then Bring a Stuffed Animal to School Day, then Half and Half Day, then Groutfit Day, and Friday was both Blue and Gold Day and the Spirit Rally. The Spirit Rally concluded with seniors taking the class cup. Students were excited to show their school spirit and have fun participating in or watching games before April vacation.
Following that, on April 30th, the sophomore semi-formal took place in the Commons of Shrewsbury High School from roughly 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. This was the first time having a semi in over 2 years, and the sophomore class made the night very successful. On May 14th, the junior prom took place at Union Station in Worcester from 6:30 to 10:30. This was the first dance for the juniors, and they were very appreciative that the dance was back. On May 27th, the senior prom will take place at the DCU Center in Worcester from 6:30 to 10:30. This is the first dance for the seniors after having semi and junior prom taken away by COVID, and we are very excited to dance and spend time with our friends in this fashion. We would like to give a special thanks to all the class officers that worked diligently to make these dances possible. Sports update. We are currently wrapping up our spring sports season. On behalf of the entire school, we would like to congratulate all of our athletes from every season for competing this year. Right now, the track team continues to succeed as the boys track team recently won the Mid-Wachusett District A League Championship, and they look forward to completing a very successful season. And the boys baseball team continues to dominate. Additionally, the boys and girls crew, lacrosse, and tennis teams look to finish off their season strong. Go Colonials.
Cultural events. On April 8th, National Chinese Honor Society hosted Under the Chinese Lanterns at SHS. This event included many fun booths running activities related to Chinese culture, such as water calligraphy and trying to pick up small items with chopsticks. The band Transition also zoomed in from London to perform the most popular Chinese songs. The event concluded with a showing of Kung Fu Panda and was a massive success, helping to introduce the public to Chinese culture.
Student general feelings. With 2 official days left for high schools for us seniors, I am all set to graduate on June 2nd. This past week or so, I have returned my school-issued iPad and filled out various surveys regarding my future plans. I have taken the time to thank my teachers who have helped me along the way, and I am very happy to be ending high school on a positive note.
As a junior taking AP classes, I've already had finals for 2 of my classes. I've also finished my AP exams for the year and am now preparing for finals in my non-AP classes, like most of the other juniors. Juniors are overall feeling stressed about taking finals for the first ever time in high school, but we are excited to finish the school year and prepare for being seniors.
Seniors are wrapping up their last couple days of high school and getting ready for Senior Week, a week filled with memorable events such as prom, commemoration, senior picnic, faculty dance, and graduation. These events have not happened in person for 2 years, so us seniors are extremely grateful for this opportunity to be opened back to us again.
After taking 5 AP exams and all my finals, school has felt very relaxing. Students generally feel that our teachers prepared us well for these exams and feel confident in their performance. Seniors are now getting ready for graduation by turning in their iPads, returning all textbooks, and making sure all dues are paid. With extra time on my hands, many seniors are working, playing sports, and participating in new hobbies. Personally, I have been spending my time playing tennis on the school team, baking, playing piano, and painting. My favorite part is being able to spend more time with my friends and cherishing our last moments in high school together.
Spring Concert Week. The Spring Concert Week at SHS was a grand success and ultimately represented our music department wonderfully. Many students from different ensembles, including chamber orchestra, wind ensemble, treble choir, mixed choir, and the a cappella group, performed multiple pieces of music that truly showcased their hard work during the entire year. The turnout was incredible, and the night ended off with the first ever United Sound concert, which incorporated the special education students with the symphony orchestra students, playing the ever-popular pieces You've Got a Friend in Me and Pirates of the Caribbean. This concert was also when the seniors of each ensembles were recognized, allowing for a smooth end to their senior year at the C Wing. The Performing Arts Department continues to succeed and excel in their work and are excited to put on more concerts in the upcoming years. Seniors. It's the part of the year where tears are shed and people say goodbye. It's the final stretch for our class of 2022 seniors, and they have a string of exciting events coming up.
Senior Picnic. The first senior event will take place tomorrow, which is Senior Picnic. Seniors will ride buses together from SHS to Dean Park from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Parents of the graduating students coordinated this memorable day at the park where games will be set to play and delicious food will be served. Seniors are extremely grateful for the donations of food and water and are excited for an afternoon of fun games and activities to do together as one.
Commemoration. Next up is commemoration, which is being held on May 31st, 2022. This is really a time for reflecting on our class's experiences at SHS with a senior video and some speeches from the class of 22 class officers and a faculty guest speaker. For parents and relatives, the event will be aired on Celco channels 29 and 329 and will be live streamed and eventually archived on the Shrewsbury Media Connections website.
Senior Faculty Dinner. On June 1st, the annual Senior Faculty Dinner at the Best Western Royale Plaza in Marlborough will occur from 6:30 to 10:30, where seniors and SHS staff enjoy dinner and celebrate their last days together. After COVID took away this event for the last 2 years, we are very grateful to have this event back. This event serves as a great opportunity to see our peers before we graduate and to reflect back on the last 12 years in the Shrewsbury Public Schools.
Graduation. The moment we've all been waiting for. Our students have worked hard for the past 12 plus years to get to this moment. Graduation will take place outdoors on the turf on June 3rd, and there will be a rehearsal that morning. Masks will not be mandatory for participants or for spectators. Students and faculty will give speeches and memories will be made. On behalf of the seniors, thank you for everything, SHS. And thank you for your continued support of the SAC.
Thank you very, very much for the report, as always. If I can turn over any questions or comments from my colleagues, please.
Just would like to thank you very much for your report. You did an excellent job. And it's so wonderful to hear that all of these events are back in person and that you guys can, especially the seniors, can enjoy all of these wonderful things in the next coming week. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I certainly want to say how much we appreciate having you here with us, getting the updates from you, getting directly from you about what's going on. It is a very positive report, and that's the tone is awfully light and happy, and I'm really happy for all of you. I'd love to know, for those of you who are moving on and looking forward to picnic, but after picnic tomorrow, what's next for the seniors who are graduating?
So I will be attending Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and I'll be studying public health.
Awesome.
I'll be going to the University of California, Berkeley, and I'll be studying computer science.
And I'm going to Northeastern University, and I'll be studying finance.
Awesome. Well, I wish you all the best of luck on behalf of all of us. Certainly, Laura, we look forward to seeing you next year back here with us, maybe giving us some updates, and along with those other elected members. But thank you all very, very much for your time, and we wish you an incredible amount of success. Dr. Sawyer.
I also want to thank you. Congratulations to our seniors. Congratulations, Laura, to you and to Shalini in absentia for your reelection. We're really pleased that you've been able to make these reports to the school committee. I think the community, when they watch, they get a real sense of what's happening at our high school, and it's a real culmination of all the work that our school community has done through the years, from preschool all the way through high school, to support you in your success. So again, appreciate you sharing all this great information with the committee throughout the year. We do have some certificates to recognize your work this year on the Student Advisory Council, and if you would love to have you come up and you can shake hands, fist bump, whatever you'd like, to be recognized by the school committee, and I'll have these certificates for you. So come on up, and how about a round of applause for our student activities? Well done. This is for you. Don't forget your certificate. There you go. All right, Laura. Congratulations. There you go.
Nice job. Thank you so much.
Mishka, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Great job. Thank you very much.
Nice job. Thank you so much.
Okay. This is one of my favorite meetings of the year because we continue with some exciting things. So we have our next item on the agenda is some student recognition of the Shrewsbury High School Esports State Championships. And I know we have a bunch of people in the audience who are welcome to step forward. Come on down. And so as a background for everybody, the Shrewsbury High School's Rocket League and League of Legends teams were previously recognized by the committee for their state championship esports titles for spring 2020. Since then, the Shrewsbury High School CEOs won the Massachusetts MSAA Rocket League tournament in the spring of 2021 and the fall of 2021. The state championship team was comprised of. I'm gonna get some help from those who are here, who's on all the teams. We got a lot of different teams over different years, but I also know that we have the staff. Our Shrewsbury Science and Engineering teacher is our current esports, Mr. Kefting, and I hope I'm saying his name correctly, and Mr. Steve McKinstry was the previous esports coach in the last school year, and I would welcome, hi.
So maybe if Mr. Crafting could introduce the students who are with us this evening, and it would be wonderful to just get a little bit of a sense of how these seasons went, and maybe explaining for some people who don't understand what esports are, what these teams are all about.
Well, sure. I'm Nick Crafting. I'm the advisor. I took over for Steve. I guess it was just a couple months ago. So actually, I've never met a couple of these students in person because we do everything remotely. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, if that's all right with you.
Yes.
Down the line. Sorry,
Hi,
John.
I'm John Q.
I'm Isaac Wolfes.
I'm Steven, who?
I'm Vincent Lam.
I'm Dominic Ainelli.
So all of these students play League of Legends, or at least did when they were on the championship team. Vincent has switched over to Rocket League, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they play competitive video games against other schools. We play on some platform called Play VS, which is not the best platform from a technological standpoint, which is a lot of what I do, is sort of run interference from behind the scenes to make sure that everything runs smoothly. But really, they handle it all themselves. All credit goes to them for all of their achievements. I'm basically just a warm body to keep the machine running. These students have really impressed me with their ability to get things done themselves, to be disciplined themselves, to organize themselves. It's really quite fun to watch.
So I understand that there are actually now college scholarships in the realm of esports. Can somebody help fill some of us for whom this was never a thing when we were growing up? How many other schools you compete against or students, and what sort of the trajectory looks like?
Anybody willing to take that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Sure. So I understand that there's a lot more kids competing in this now than there ever were before. And I guess I'm just wondering, are some of you hoping that you might get college scholarships, or some of these other things that are happening out there? Just give us a little more flavor.
Oh, a little more flavor. Well, so with scholarships and stuff, it's we haven't really been given that many scholarships, but there have been some colleges that have requested that we play for them, but that's only happened once for me, and I've been on the team for a little bit, so I don't think anyone else has gone on. So
There also, aren't there rewards for winning certain tournaments as well in the form of scholarships?
oh yeah, you can ask for scholarship money or just cash. I got cash. So, yeah.
I'm sure your family appreciates that as well.
Yeah, they did.
Colleagues, any questions, please, Ms. Fritz?
Congratulations, and I think, the esports teams and your predecessors have been kind of frequent flyers here. She's usually been a leader in this, and I know when I was on the committee and this first came before us, I'm like, with a son playing video, I'm like, what are they doing? Playing video games? I don't know anything about this, and it's worldwide. I mean, it's at college level, it's professional levels. They sell out stadiums to play this. And the other thing, it's a lot of teamwork and using critical thinking. So it isn't just playing a game. And as a mother, I had to learn that from my own son. And he's now almost 30, bought a house back in Shrewsbury, and happened to stop in last night. And I mentioned you guys were coming again. You have followers, kids who have graduated still follow what you do, how well you do, and just really interesting to hear about. But it's not just playing video games. There's a lot more to it, and I think that's what the public needs to know. So congratulations. And I do have one question: does the team ever go out and look for corporate sponsorship? Because I know there's a lot of corporate sponsorship at the college level, professional level. I'm just wondering if that's something that's been thought about.
I mean, I have no clue, but maybe you know a little bit, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not to my knowledge.
Not too, right, right. But maybe something to think of as you, because it's very popular and quite esports is a big thing. And so just good for all of you. Again, it's not just playing video games. You're doing a lot more than that. So thank you.
Just curious, how many of you are seniors? Or none of you are seniors? So you're all coming back next year and to defend the title?
Yeah, we lost a lot of players.
Okay. Well, congratulations on these accomplishments. I know, as Ms. Fritz said, since this team was founded, you've been pretty much on a roll, with the exception of maybe one semester, 1 year, or whatever. So quite an accomplishment. And I agree too. It's a lot more than just playing video games. It's a lot of coordination, a lot of strategizing, and teamwork. So it does take a lot. So congrats to you. Awesome.
Absolutely. Huge congratulations on behalf of all of us. Dr. Sawyer.
I want to congratulate our students, and there were some who couldn't be with us this evening, and we have certificates for all of them, so I'll give them in a batch to Mr. Crafting when everybody comes up in a minute. But I do want to commend the students for getting involved with the team, for supporting one another, for working together. This kind of online collaboration obviously is something that we all got used to in different ways as a result of the pandemic, and of course esports predates the pandemic, but I think that this is an example of something where we were able to have a student activity and sport that was able to thrive through the conditions over the last couple of years, and certainly the fact that you've won so many championships, it really brings a lot of accolades to Shrewsbury High School and our school community. And again, it's something that you're able to do, as Mr. Crafton said, quite independently, and then you're all stepping up and doing this kind of things. I just came across yet another article the other day about how future employers are looking so much at the ability to be able to collaborate, be in a competitive environment, but do that in a collaborative way that assists other people. This is a kind of skill set that's going to serve you well no matter what you do beyond high school. So congratulations, job well done. So at this point, if gentlemen can come up and just shake hands with the committee along with Mr. Crafting, and I'll make sure Mr. Crafting gets the certificates he can pass out, because some of you are getting multiple certificates for multiple championships.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congrats.
Good job. Nice job.
Congrats.
All right, I'll let you sort all those out there. Any other ones? So, thank you, Nick. Congratulations. Thanks for doing this.
Congrats.
Okay, and our next item on the agenda, we are going to continue in the area of recognition, and we have our senior scholars. So each year, the school committee recognizes 10 senior students with the highest grade point averages in their class. We have been provided a brief biographical sketch on all of them, but Dr. Sawyer, if I can turn it over to you to help us organize this. I see many people here tonight, and we're happy to have you.
Absolutely, and you'll be able to hear from all of our guests, and this is certainly a privilege for me to introduce you the senior scholars from the class of 2022, Shrewsbury High School. These students had the highest GPAs, weighted GPAs in the senior class. There are plenty of outstanding students, of course, but these were statistically, as has been our tradition, the students who are ranked in the top 10. They are an incredibly accomplished group of young people. More importantly, they're terrific people. They've done a lot of excellent things to support and make their school community better and their larger community better. And it's really going to be a treat to introduce them to you this evening. What I'll be doing is we'll be recognizing them in alphabetical order. After I give the bio, so people at home and who are watching and who are in the audience understand what the accomplishments are that these young people have done. Each member will step up to the standing microphone there and give some brief remarks. So without further ado, we'll begin with Penelope Crosby. And what I'm going to do is read the description that was provided by their school counselors to us. Penelope's had a remarkable 4 years at SHS. She's an ambitious and reflective learner. She worked fully remote as a junior and thrived in this environment, even with the challenges it naturally presented. Her work ethic and attention to detail have been major factors behind her overall success in the classroom. Penelope is intellectually curious and always open to learning new things. Some of her proudest academic accomplishments include being named a National Merit Scholarship finalist and receiving the Superintendent's Award for Academic Excellence. Penelope is a trumpet player who's been part of the SHS Band and Honors Wind Ensemble, while also serving as a peer mentor in the new SHS United Sound program. She has an interest in languages, taught herself the Korean alphabet and Japanese kana so she could read those languages phonetically. Penelope has also participated in karate over the years and was able to earn her black belt. In her free time, she enjoys crocheting, gardening, baking, and going roller skating with friends. And Penelope will be attending Tufts University in the fall and plans to study biology or education. So Penelope, please come up to the microphone.
All right, so I'd like to thank all the people who have brought me to this point, because truly it was a collaborative effort on a lot of different people's parts. So I'd like to thank the school committee and the faculty and staff of all the Shrewsbury Public Schools for all of the behind-the-scenes work that they do, and they don't get enough recognition for all they do for us. And I would like to thank my teachers, especially Miss Yet and Mrs. Gardner, because their passion and enthusiasm for their subjects have really inspired me to do well and put a lot of effort forth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next scholar is Esme Danielson. Esme is an accomplished young woman in and out of the classroom. She's a resilient and self-motivated individual who always puts forth her best effort in all aspects of life. She's challenged herself over the years by taking demanding course schedules. Her success in the classrooms allowed her to become a member of the English, Social Science, and National Honor Societies. She currently serves as co-president for the Model United Nations. She's responsible for managing club finances, recruitment, and deciding which conferences to attend each year. This activity requires her to focus on debate skills, public speaking, and knowledge of current and international affairs. Esme is also a member of the varsity speech and debate team. Similar to the Model United Nations, she loves staying on top of current affairs and debating during tournaments. Esme serves as one of our lead tutors for our peer tutoring center. She helps students in English, math, and biology. Esme will be attending Boston University in the fall, where she'll be studying finance. Esme.
Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to be here tonight. First off, I'd just like to thank my family for always being there to support me no matter what. I'm so lucky to have such incredible parents. And thank you to the school committee for making all of this possible and for providing each student in our town with such incredible educational opportunities. Shrewsbury Public Schools have given me so many opportunities to grow academically and personally throughout the years, and I'm so grateful to have attended Shrewsbury Public Schools from kindergarten at Spring Street Elementary to now at SHS. I've made so many incredible connections with my peers as well as the many adults who have helped me throughout the years. I'd like to thank Miss Busso, who was the best statistics teacher I could have asked for in a really bright light during my junior year. I'd also like to thank my guidance counselor, Mr. Flynn, for being so compassionate and helpful throughout the years and with the college application process. It's definitely bittersweet to be graduating and moving on into the future, but I'm really excited to see what incredible contributions all my peers will have. Thank you.
Our next scholar is Dishi Han. Dishi is an extremely accomplished young woman. Looking at her accomplishments, it's easy for one to wonder how she's been able to excel in so many fields at such a young age. Her numerous academic achievements are highlighted by being a U.S. Presidential Scholars Program candidate, a National Merit Scholarship finalist, and a Superintendent's Award for Academic Excellence winner. Dishi is an accomplished athlete, as she was a 2-year captain of the Shrewsbury High School co-ed golf team. She's also a standout musician, as she is the principal chair flutist and soloist of the Worcester Youth Symphony Orchestra, and she's played both flute and piccolo in the SHS Band, Honors Wind Ensemble, and Symphony Orchestra. She earned Central District's recognition all 4 years of high school and was awarded the John Philip Sousa Award this year for superior musicianship and dedication to the SHS band program. Come the fall, Dixie will be attending Brown University, where she'll be studying computational biology. Dishi.
First off, I'd like to thank the school committee, Dr. Sawyer, and all of the administration, teachers, and staff at the high school for all of their support over the past 4 years. I'd also like to thank all of my teachers who have helped me along the way from kindergarten up till now. I moved to Shrewsbury in 4th grade going to Coolidge, and that opened so many doors for me. So I'd really like to thank some of the teachers who really had an impact at on my time at Shrewsbury. First off, thank you to Mr. Collins, my calc teacher last year, who taught me to love math and is part of the reason why I chose computational biology as my major. Thank you to Mr. Brown, my A-push teacher last year, who taught me not just history, but how to think about the world around us. And thank you to Madame Plord, my French teacher for the past 2 years, for making her classroom feel like a second home at school. And lastly, I'd like to thank my parents for all of their love and support over the past 17 years. I know I don't say this enough, but I really appreciate everything they do for me. So thank you to everyone.
Our next scholar is Zainab Irfan. Zainab is a gifted student who possesses an incredible intellect and an equally laudable work ethic. She has an amazing array of interpersonal skills that consistently earn her the respect of her teachers and peers. While speaking with her teachers, they all shared the belief that Zainab will make a substantive difference in the world regardless of which field she decides to pursue. With all of her academic success, she's been able to balance playing violin in the highest level orchestra group, the Worcester Youth Symphony Orchestra, while also excelling in the SHS Orchestra and Honors Chamber Orchestra. She earned Central District Honors for the past 3 years and won the Outstanding Service and Contribution Award for her ensemble this year, while also being a peer mentor in the new SHS United Sound program. Zainab was also a member of the varsity ski team and the calligraphy club for 4 years. She'll be attending Northeastern University, where she'll be studying behavioral neuroscience and design.
Good evening. I would first like to thank the school committee for inviting us all to this meeting because it's an honor to speak here tonight. And to start, I would like to recognize the teachers that I've had over the years who have contributed to my successes as a student. In particular, I would like to express my gratitude for my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Manning, and my 5th grade teacher, Miss Verzi. Both of them showed that they cared not only for their classes as a whole, but for the individual students, which is why they're among the first people that I remember when I think about my former teachers. Moreover, I would like to thank Mr. Brown and Madame Plord for teaching 2 of my favorite courses during high school, which were AP US History and AP French. Although the subjects themselves were difficult, I would look forward to attending their classes every day because of how enjoyable they would make them. Additionally, I want to thank Mrs. Mercadante, who has been my orchestra teacher for the past 4 years, because her dedication to teaching has helped to foster my deep appreciation for music. Lastly, I would like to thank my family for the support they have shown me by always being there for me when I need them. Once again, I'm grateful to all my wonderful teachers and each and every staff member that I have met during my time as a student in Shrewsbury, because I couldn't have made it to where I am today without them. I will not forget the positive impacts that they have made on my life, both academically and personally. Thank you.
Our next scholar is Gianna Kaiser. Gianna is a very adaptable and versatile student. Throughout her high school experience, she attended 3 different high schools, one in Canada, one in Louisiana, and Shrewsbury High School, beginning in her sophomore year. Despite attending 3 different schools, she was very successful at all she attended to. She finished her career with a GPA in the top 10 of her class, and we're very proud to have her graduate here from Shrewsbury. An avid reader, Gianna often seeks out additional materials on her own to further her learning. She is very dedicated to her education and is clearly a lifelong learner. In the fall, Gianna will be continuing her education at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Gianna.
Okay, so I would like to thank my parents, my counselor, Mr. Russell, and all the teachers I've had in my 12 years of education, for they're the main reason I'm here today. I would also like to thank the school committee for making a difference in our committee. So I started school in Shrewsbury on December 19, 2019. It was cold, it was gloomy, it was gray in Massachusetts, yeah. I kind of knew it was the first chapter of my new book, and that gave me new experiences that will stay with me throughout my life. So as I go on to this new chapter, I would like to thank you for all that I've learned, and I'm truly grateful for this honor. Thank you.
Our next scholar is Anish Kare. Anish is a driven, amiable young man who has made an impact in his 4 years at Shrewsbury High School. He loves to be challenged, and he has done this by taking a demanding caseload of courses while excelling in all areas. During the pandemic, he took the initiative and served as an outreach coordinator for Smart Help, which is a student-led free online tutoring service for students in our community. Anish is also an active member of our cross-country team and our computer club. Coding has always been a passion of his, and he's taken it upon himself to enroll in online classes to focus on data analysis through the coding platform Python. Anish is also a second-degree black belt in karate, and in the fall, he will be attending Northeastern University. Anish.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you to Dr. Sawyer, the school committee members, and of course the Shrewsbury High School faculty for helping me achieve this award. I know many of us may be thinking that we're here to celebrate my efforts, but I think it's more apt to say that we are celebrating the community's efforts as a whole. There's actually a saying that goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And I'd like to take my opportunity today to thank everybody who has been a part of my village. So first and foremost, I would like to start by thanking my family. To my mom and dad, thank you for always offering unconditional support and encouragement. Whether it was staying up late at night to quiz me on my psychology vocab cards, or drilling it into my head that you cannot, in fact, divide by zero, they have always been my biggest supporters. And of course, one more very important member of my family, that would be my sister, Anika. She has always been there to make tense moments a lot lighter and always wishes me good luck before any of my big days. So to her, thank you very much, and I know I'll be seeing you accomplish great things in the near future. Next, I would like to thank everybody in the Shrewsbury School District and everyone who works tirelessly to make this the best school district in the state. To Dr. Sawyer and the school committee, your effort and dedication really helps or always translates into the continued success of this system. From teachers, administrators, counselors, and other faculty, I truly believe we are given an incredible support system from the moment we enter this district. I would like to take this moment to recognize some of the teachers who have helped me throughout these years. First and foremost, Mr. Collins from Calculus. Your energy and attitude helped accomplish the impossible, making learning calculus at 8:30 in the morning actually enjoyable. Yes, he was able to manage this. And also to Madame Duffy. Despite wanting to drop French coming into my senior year, I am beyond grateful to have had the opportunity to have her as a teacher for not 1, but actually 2 years. Her kindness and passion for the subject helped make French a class that I look forward to every single day. So for that, merci beaucoup. And finally, I am beyond proud of who I have become as both a student and as a member of society. And I cannot wait to bring all that I have learned here at Shrewsbury High School to my collegiate journey. I will remember this period of time in my life with both pride and fondness. Thank you very much.
Our next scholar is Haley Luke. Haley's strongest attribute is her innate intellectual curiosity. She genuinely wants to understand the world around her, not just at a superficial level, but at a depth that seeks to understand the interconnectedness of this life. Her work in class is often used as an exemplar for other students. Her quiet, positive impact on those around her points to Haley's natural academic prowess and hard work outside the classroom. Her peers hold her in high regard as someone who is helpful and wise. Her teachers describe her as a reflective student, capable of introspection that informs her studies and aids in her success. While she's excelled academically, she's also been an involved student in many extracurricular activities, always contributing to the positive culture at SHS. These pursuits include membership in Helping Hands Club, Outdoors Club, Special Peer Connections, and considerable hours volunteering. For the past 4 years, Haley's volunteer hours at a thrift shop align with her passion for the environment. Her work helps breathe new life into items donated by others, helping to reduce the impact on our planet. Haley's an advocate for mental health awareness, sharing helpful resources through a social media platform. She's excited to pursue her studies further at the University of Michigan next fall, studying environmental engineering and environmental studies. Haley.
Hi everyone. I'd like to start off by thanking Dr. Sawyer and the school committee for having me here today. I moved to Shrewsbury midway through my kindergarten year, so I've really been a part of the Shrewsbury public school system for as long as I can remember. One of the main reasons my parents chose to move to Shrewsbury in particular was because of the reputation of excellence in education, which I believe I've been able to experience during my time here, in part because of the exceptional staff. First, I'd like to thank my third grade teacher, Miss Gallagher from Patton Elementary School, who not only taught me so much, but also encouraged me to be my very best self. To this day, whenever I come across Miss Gallagher in passing, she greets me, which I think exemplifies how deeply the Shrewsbury Public Schools staff care about their students. Next, I'd like to thank Miss Egan from Oak Middle School and Miss Burnett, who I had for 12th grade English. These two, for me, really redefined the student-teacher relationship through their deep consideration for my outside life. They both helped me through some tough times, and I trusted that I could turn to them for whatever I needed. Finally, I'd like to thank Mr. Brocky, who I had for AP Environmental Science my junior year. I decided to take that class with just a smidge of an interest in the topic, but Mr. Brocky's passion for the subject and his true love for teaching the material really spoke to me and played a significant role in my decision to continue down the environmental field through my further education. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank my parents and older sister, who are my biggest supporters. They have been there for me through it all, and I truly would not be standing up here today if it weren't for them. Thank you all for your time.
Our next scholar is Kira Marshall. Kira is one of those students who you look at and wonder how she manages to do it all. She was captain of the basketball team, highly involved in service to the community, and has sought out multiple opportunities over the summers to engage in STEM-related camps and activities, business internships, and her continuing work with Special Olympics. She is a driven and motivated student participating in our independent learning endeavor, Honors Capstone, and her project was titled Social Injustice Through Applied Mathematics, which I can tell you was actually applying mathematics to the layout of museums using mathematical formulas to see whether or not works of art were more heavily allocated to artists of white artists versus artists of color. And it was a pretty remarkable project. Kira's independent work showed this high level of intellectual curiosity and application. She's a dynamic and passionate student who was accepted through early decision to Duke University for the fall. While at Duke, she plans to study on the finance track, potentially focusing on economics. Kira.
Hi, everyone. I first want to thank the school committee, not only for this opportunity, but also for all the behind-the-scenes work that you guys do for all the students. We're all very blessed to have you. I also want to thank my parents and my family for helping me to achieve my goals. I couldn't have done it without both of you. I would like to thank Mr. K and Coach Dufo from middle school for giving me confidence and helping me to achieve whatever I wanted to in high school. I would also like to thank Mrs. Trombley for being a teacher that I could always look up to and trust throughout high school, whether it be in freshman year English or in junior and senior year capstone. And to Mrs. Pryor and Dr. Duggan for their compassion, strength, and for always being a positive influence in my life. And I would especially like to thank my basketball coach, Coach Skermont, my track coach, Wendy, and our athletic trainer, Walter Hildebrand. Through all the highs and lows of my high school career, they have always been by my side, keeping me moving on even when I felt it was very impossible to do so. They taught me what true strength is, and I will carry that with me for the rest of my life. Thank you all for this opportunity.
Our next scholar unfortunately couldn't be with us this evening, but I'm going to read her bio so we can recognize her. Hannah Mock. Hannah is a leader in every sense of the word, empathetic, ambitious, dedicated, and reliable. She never fails to take on an opportunity to help others, whether it's leading her worship in church or helping her fellow SHS peers. Hannah takes the initiatives in the face of a challenge, such as when she initiated virtual worship sessions when in-person sessions were canceled due to COVID. In addition to her active leadership and involvement as a youth group leader, Hannah is also the president of the National Chinese Honor Society, a member of the Town Crier School newspaper, a camp counselor, and interns at Forging Opportunities for Refugees in America, where she manages schedules for tutors and mentors. In addition to being a tutor herself, Hannah plays the viola, and she has been a member of the SHS Orchestra and Honors Chamber Orchestra. She's become a well-spoken young woman ready to tackle the challenges the world faces. Her next step will be enrolling at Northeastern University in the fall with a major in international relations and economics. So in absentia, let's give a round of applause to Hannah Mock. And last, alphabetically, certainly not least, our next scholar is Ann Titus. Ann is a great student, a strong peer leader, and sets an incredible example for those around her. She's personable and has a great sense of humor and is also very thoughtful and bright. She's organized, hardworking, creative, and determined to succeed. She is inquisitive, works hard, and is willing to do whatever it takes to be successful. She places a high value on balance in her life, being equally motivated and involved in academics and extracurriculars, and still makes time to enjoy being with her family and friends. Ann has made an impact in the areas of music, church, STEM, and volunteering. She served as the president of the Science and Technology Application and Research Club and is part of the SHS Mentor Volunteer Program. She plays the violin and has been a member of the SHS Orchestra and Honors Chamber Orchestra and Symphony Orchestra, earning Central Districts her junior year. Ann served as the co-president of United Sound this year, helping to organize this new program, only one in the state in Massachusetts, and serving as a peer mentor musician. She is most proud of her work ethic and her ability to focus on the process, not just the outcome. Ann will be joining the freshman class at Northeastern University in the fall, where she'll be studying bioengineering. Ann.
Good evening. To begin with, I would like to thank Dr. Sawyer and the school committee for the opportunity to speak here today. Secondly, I would like to thank my family and my friends for the unconditional support that they've showed me throughout my entire life. They've really shaped who I've become today. Finally, I want to thank all of the staff and educators in the Shrewsbury Public School System. There are a few teachers in particular, who I would like to thank. Mrs. Pryor, my former AP Calculus teacher, Madame Plourde, my AP French teacher, Mrs. Phillips, my former chemistry teacher, and Mrs. Mercadante, my orchestra teacher. These teachers really know how to push their students out of their comfort zones to reach their full potential, and I experienced that firsthand. They've been so willing to offer extra help to any student that wants it, and you can see how incredibly dedicated they are to their job. Not only do they make rigorous classes manageable and engaging, but they're also able to form individualized relationships with their students, and that cultivates a more personal and growth-focused environment as a whole. Their efforts, as well as that of the Shrewsbury Public School System, have helped me and many others to succeed and have taught me many life skills that I use every day, and for that I can't thank them enough. So once again, to all of my teachers and staff that I've had, and for the unforgettable impact that has been made on my life, I thank you.
Before turning it back to you, Ms. Heffernan, I just want to again congratulate all of our senior scholars. I thought you were eloquent in your remarks and certainly demonstrated the gratitude that you have for all the opportunities you've been provided, and especially not only the support you've received from the school district as a whole, but the specific impact that different educators have had on you all along the way. I also want to thank and congratulate your families. As you all mentioned, you can't do things like this on your own, and we're very fortunate in Shrewsbury to have such wonderful families supporting our students in their academic and co-curricular endeavors. So thank you, and with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Heffernan.
Yeah, thank you very much. Colleagues, please, comments. Yes.
Congratulations to everyone. It's, as a school committee member, this is our favorite time of year. This is always the fun things. We really enjoy doing it and just seeing the results of all students. But I think for me, what strikes me the most this year is that you've persevered through probably the hardest time we've ever seen in public education. So I think it brings it to an even higher level, what you've done and what you've achieved. So congratulations, and thank you to your families too for always supporting you and supporting us as a school department. So thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, please, John.
This is truly the most wonderful time of the year for school committee members. I can assure you that, especially over the last week, celebrating various awards presentations. But tonight in particular is pretty awesome for us. And I know you've been thanking us as you've been coming up, but thank you all for being here and for everything that you've accomplished. Congratulations. On my way here, I was thinking about the class of 2022 and this being really your second full year in high school, right? Your first being your freshman year. And to have persevered through unprecedented times and to maintain the level of performance to your senior year is remarkable. In addition to all the extracurricular activities that are listed out here, your volunteer work, and just it is exceptional. So congratulations to you all, to your families for being here. Thank you so much, and also to your teachers and the staff that contributed to your success that you thanked along the way. So thank you so much.
Please.
Just like to congratulate you all. You're all so very impressive, and to see the breadth and scope of all of the different activities that you've all embraced over your careers, it's incredible. From karate to tutoring to all types of volunteer work, all different sports, orchestra, United Sound. It's so very impressive, and I just wanted to congratulate you all. Thank you all for all of your hard work and perseverance, and to thank all of your families as well for all of their support. And yeah, it's a great night.
Yeah.
And I think similarly, I was jotting down some notes that we have musicians and artists and scientists and athletes and scholars and incredible community members here with us tonight. And but in addition, you are proving to be so well-rounded and good-natured and gracious in your success, and bringing the people with you who are important to you into the room, whether with us tonight or calling them out. Your third grade teacher. My daughter's in Miss Gallagher's class. I'm glad. I hope she remembers her, and I'm sure she will too. But, we know that your parents are proud of you, and many of them are here tonight, and you can see it on their faces as they record you and their statements. But I think it's important for you to know that your community is proud of you, and that's what tonight is about, is that we're saying we're also very proud of you, and we wish you the utmost success in what comes next. So I know, Dr. Sawyer, I'm not good at this part. I'm new at this chair thing, and I get weepy easily. We have some gifts for our scholars.
We do. We have a gift for each of them to recognize their accomplishments. So at this time, if the scholars could come up and shake the committee's hand and receive your gift. And how about one round of applause for our senior scholars?
Congratulations. Best of luck to you.
So well said. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Nice job.
Congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations.
And congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so very much. Of course.
Congratulations. Nice job.
Congratulations. Outstanding.
Congratulations.
Right, congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations. Nice job.
Congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations.
All right, so congratulations to all of our students. I think some of our esports students stayed, which was wonderful. Our scholars, you're welcome to go home, celebrate, enjoy. If you're really interested in staying for the rest of the meeting and listen to reports, you can, but you're welcome to be on your way. So again, congratulations, and how about one more round of applause for all our successful students.
Okay. Thank you all, and good night. Let's see, we're moving to our next agenda item, and I'll welcome up some of our members of our staff, Ms. Noelle Freeman, Director of Nursing, and Dr. Erica Pratt, Director of Health, Physical Education, and Family Consumer Science. Glad to have you with us this evening, and this agenda item is our local wellness policy revision. This is our first reading of this policy. For review by the committee, that would be policy number 649. A draft was enclosed and included some major revisions from our current policy. These revisions are designed to reflect the district's current practices as well, those relative to social and emotional aspects of health, and were informed by feedback of the Shrewsbury Wellness Advisory Committee, along with consultant recommendations and other best practice. So I'm happy to turn it over. I believe, Ms. Freeman, are you taking the lead for us this evening to share a little bit about what's in that policy?
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is definitely a hard act to follow tonight.
We're going to turn to policy.
But we will do our best. So thank you for having us. We are going to talk tonight about the local wellness policy, as you said. I'm Noelle Freeman, Director of School Nursing.
And I'm Erica Pratt, Director of Physical Education, Health Education, and Family Consumer Science. Thank you.
Okay, so we thought we would start out with talking a little bit about why we have this policy for people who aren't aware. So in addition to the fact that having a policy to help ensure wellness practices just kind of seems like a good idea, federal laws and regulations do require that each local education agency who participates in the national school breakfast and lunch programs must develop a local wellness policy and establish a plan for measuring and implementing the policy. In addition to that, Massachusetts law requires that we develop or have a school wellness advisory committee. That committee must be in place to ensure that the district has an established group of school staff and community representatives to recommend, review, and help implement such a policy. So we do have the Shrewsbury Wellness Advisory Committee, which we fondly call SWAC. And SWAC has been in existence for quite some time. It's made up of Shrewsbury administrators, staff, students, and parents, as well as members from the larger Shrewsbury community and local public health representatives. And we do have a member of the school committee with us. Dr. McGee was our representative for several years, so we look forward to one of you joining us in the future. So according to those regulations that I spoke about, the policy should be reviewed by SWAC every 3 years, and revision should be made as needed. Our last formal review of the policy was in 2013, so we're clearly overdue. And recognizing that, and that our policy was in need of updating, the district applied for and was accepted to participate in the Massachusetts School Wellness Coaching Program. That's a program through the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and it's aimed at perfecting wellness policies. So we were matched with a consultant from the John Stalker Institute at Framingham State University, and she worked with the committee to evaluate and revise the current policy to comply with state and federal standards. So under the direction of the consultant, the committee utilized this wellness school assessment tool known as the WellSat-3 to identify strengths of the current policy and areas that could be strengthened. So on this slide is actually a snapshot of one of the sections of that tool. This looked at the nutrition program and school meals section, staff, committee members, which is staff and all the other people I mentioned, rated the policy, came to consensus, and that kind of gave us an idea of which sections of the policy needed a closer look. The committee then spent additional time looking at the sections that were found lacking and utilized resources like the Alliance for a Healthier Generations model policy, and then made recommendations for improvements. And at that point, Erica and I took over, got to work on revising the policy based on those recommendations. Then there was an opportunity for the committee to review the draft policy before it was sent along to you for review.
Okay, and as Noelle mentioned, the use of data from the WellSat-3 and information within the model wellness policy guided our writing, and the writing of this draft resulted in a major revision of the existing policy from 2013. So this slide that you see here lists the sections of the new draft policy that we have provided for your consideration. We will go into more detail about each of these areas in the following slides. Section 1, nutrition education. Nutrition education is a vital part of the K-12 comprehensive health education program and specifically relies on evidence and standard-based guidelines to promote and protect health. Currently, our staffing only allows for formal nutrition education in grades 5 and 10. However, we hope to expand this programming to the elementary grades in the future as the budget allows. One focus of this policy is to empower children with the knowledge and skills to make healthy food and beverage choices through developmentally appropriate, skill-based, and culturally relevant teaching practices. In addition, it is intended that nutrition and physical activity will also be integrated into other classroom subjects as feasible in collaboration with the health education staff. Finally, the district will teach, model, encourage, and support healthy eating and physical activity among students and staff throughout all school campuses.
So next is Section 2, Nutrition Services. A large chunk of the policy speaks to regulations for food that is consumed in school, whether it's served to students in our cafeterias or as part of the lunch and breakfast programs, or if it's provided to students in another way. One important addition that it was a result of this policy revision is that next year we will be making breakfast available at school in all of our school buildings. It will be available free of charge for those that qualify and will be available for purchase by any student who chooses to participate. There are specific laws that govern competitive foods or beverages. Competitive foods are foods and beverages that are sold in a la carte lines, school stores, or vending machines during the school day. So these items also need to meet the same standards as those that are served as part of the breakfast or lunch programs. And for the purposes of the policy, the school day is considered the midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of any given school day. Families can, of course, send in snacks or lunch of their choosing for their own children to consume during the day. We do encourage families to send healthy options that fuel learning. And we need to remind students and families that food that is sent in from home cannot be shared with other students for safety reasons. We have hundreds of students with life-threatening food allergies and other food sensitivities in our schools. And it's important to note that while our buildings are not considered allergen-free, they are considered allergy-aware. And this basically means that while no particular foods are banned at school, we do ask that everyone be aware and respectful of food allergies in the school community in order to keep everyone as safe as possible. In the same vein, the policy states that food should not be used as a reward. There are specific exceptions allowed in the policy for students who have individual education programs, 504 plans, or behavior programs that allow for food rewards. And instead of food rewards in general, we recommend using rewards that promote physical activity like extra recess or movement breaks or educational messages such as bookmarks or extra read aloud time, things like that.
Okay, next slide, section number 3, physical education and physical activity. Physical education is currently taught at all grade levels in the district per Massachusetts general law and is a requirement for graduation at the high school. All K-12 physical education classes are in alignment with the Massachusetts state frameworks and follow age-appropriate sequential curricula that provide maximum activity to promote benefits of a physically active lifestyle while helping students develop lifelong healthy habits. This also extends to our newly created adapted physical education program that began during this school year. Physical education teachers will provide instruction and assessment of the knowledge, motor, and social emotional skills of students while connecting with parents and community beyond the school day. In addition to formal learning experiences in physical education, physical activity breaks will be encouraged throughout the academic day before and after school, and opportunities for recess are provided at the elementary and middle levels. Finally, waivers, exemptions, or any substitutions for physical education will not be permitted, and under no circumstance will physical activity be used as punishment or withheld from students.
So section 4 is wellness promotion. Previous versions of the policy did have a few bullets on wellness promotion that, like the bulk of the policy, really centered around nutrition and physical activity. And that is because that's where the federal mandates lie. However, while we were in the process of updating this policy, we really felt like it was important that the policy reflect other aspects of well-being and wellness, including mental health, employee wellness, and family and community engagement. So this expansion of the policy is based on the whole school, whole community, whole child model and takes a more holistic look at wellness. So I'll just quickly provide some examples of areas that are included in the current draft under this wellness promotion section in the subheadings that you see here. So social emotional culture is something that you've heard a lot about in the last few years, and is something that we as a district have been making more of a focus of our work. SEL curriculum, fostering a sense of belonging, and anti-bullying procedures are all part of this category in the policy. Our investment in the mental health of our students includes mental and behavioral health professionals who support students in a variety of ways that are outlined in the policy, as well as the signs of suicide curriculum, which is taught in health classes at Oak Middle School and Shrewsbury High. School health services refers to the school nurses, who are, of course, an important part of our wellness team. We provide both physical care and mental health support and collaborate with our counseling and physical education colleagues to complete the list of annual mandated screenings for students across the district. The physical environment includes not only ensuring that our spaces are properly maintained, but that we keep our buildings free of substances such as tobaccos and other drugs, and that we maintain safety procedures such as the electronic entry systems that are in effect in all of our buildings. Employee wellness is essential, and we encourage all staff to practice and model healthy habits. When staff struggle with issues that might interfere with their physical or mental health, we do have help available through the Employee Assistance Program, and that information is also in the policy. And of course, family and community engagement are key to the success of any of our district efforts. Families are invited and encouraged to be active participants in the life of our schools, and community partnerships are welcomed.
Okay, this next slide shares the technical aspects of the implementation and evaluation of the wellness policy. Ultimately, the superintendent is responsible to ensure that the policy requirements are being met across the district. However, at the building level, principals are responsible for oversight and, in consultation with school nurses, will monitor and manage the local wellness policy. The Regional Youth Health Survey that was discussed at a recent school committee meeting provides data that informs the policy and is also part of the review process. Going forward, the policy will be posted on the district website, included in the new staff orientation and staff training modules, and reviewed by the Shrewsbury Wellness Advisory Committee, SWAC, every 3 years, and revisions will be made as needed. Thank you for your time. We're happy to hear your initial thoughts on the draft policy and can try to answer any questions that you might have regarding the policy.
Thank you. I turn it over to my colleagues. Any questions on this policy?
Just a question. So you mentioned, first off, great presentation. Appreciate the walkthrough. One thing that stuck out to me with regards to the reference of breakfast being available at all buildings next year, and just remind me, are we
Currently.
Currently, yeah, where we're doing that.
So currently, breakfast is available at Coolidge specifically, and that's because of the level of need that is at Coolidge, and the specific requirements of the law say that the program must be available at schools when there is a certain level of need. In other buildings, there's nurses have helped to coordinate for certain students if they, identify a student who might benefit from having breakfast on a regular basis. They have some ability to get like kind of a brown bag breakfast for a small number of students, but we felt like it was important to expand that and really make breakfast available. Staffing is available to support that.
Okay.
And so we, knowing that those things could be in place, thought that was a positive addition we could
Yeah,
make.
I guess that was kind of my question. Maybe this is for Patrick, but just in terms of the impact to cafeteria services, would that be with what we have today, or do we need to add more? Or?
Sorry. You want to answer that?
Yeah, no, they and I know they've consulted very fully with the cafeteria manager, Ms. Beth Nichols, but using the existing staff and just kind of arranging the hours certainly can expand the service. And we have had breakfast available at Sherwood Oak and the high school as well. So this is really kind of like a full expansion to all elementary schools which we all think is a good idea.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Actually, just to, first of all, thank you for the presentation. This is a very thoughtfully done, detailed policy. Actually, my comment was along the lines of Mr. Wenski's question. I'm pleased to see the expansion of breakfast services. I think that is a great opportunity for students who we know there are many students in town for whom the school is their best source of nutrition. So just a comment that I'm glad to see that we're heading in that direction.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you again also for the presentation and the work, and to everybody on the SWAC. How you call it, lovingly refer to it, for a lot of time and effort, and certainly want to just acknowledge that our colleague, Dr. Dale McGee, spent an awful lot of time on this, and that was, so we will work on that. One of the things that I appreciated as sort of a comment and a question for consideration is the ways in which I could see the attempts to weave in diversity, equity, and inclusion within the document itself in a more formalized way, and certainly I saw that in the professional development, and it's I think the only place we now have you certainly can correct me if I'm wrong, but that we are doing student surveys about culture, and that's an important piece for us going forward, which I think we on the school committee know is important, but to document that for posterity seems appropriate. One suggestion or question I had was around the family engagement piece. One of the pieces that came out in the town's DEI task force as relative to schools was around engaging families for whom language is a barrier for participation, and I just wonder if we might have an opportunity here to acknowledge our renewed efforts that we would continue to have to kind of invest in that space to sort of help families want to be here. It's one thing to invite them, but if we're not inviting them in languages in which they can understand, we're not really doing the work. So I wonder if there's a way for us to advance that piece forward, but maybe you've already considered that in some other ways.
We hadn't talked about putting that into the policy, but I think, in general, that is a conversation that we've had in different meetings, just about including SWAC, that when we're trying to get, messaging out to families, how important it is to make sure that it's translated, whenever possible, and, links are made available. And so that is something we could certainly add to the policy if that's something you would like to see.
I would add that at our last district leadership team meeting, which is everyone who's in supervisory capacity across the district, Christina Manos, who is which I will announce now, I should have announced it earlier, she recently, I appointed her as the Director of English Language Education. She's been the interim director so far this year. She had overwhelming support from families and students and staff to continue in that role. But she made a presentation, and someone's gonna have to help me with the name of the app.
Talking Points.
Talking Points, which is an app we've begun using initially through the English Language Education program. It's actually a translation app that actually works directly to cell phones through texting and does automatic translation, and it's been quite successful. And that's something that we gave an initial overview and basic training to the entire leadership team, but that's an example of a tool we will be able to utilize more going forward for just this kind of purpose. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you. And so any other comments or questions? So Dr. Sawyer, as I understand, this is our first reading, and we will be revisiting this at our meeting of June 8th. I can't believe we're almost in June. June 8th, and we certainly would welcome the comments and from anyone who's listening this evening. I know it's part of the materials for anyone else who is involved. Anything further on this matter tonight, Dr. Sawyer?
I just said it will be posted on the website under the school committee section for this year under reports and materials. If anyone wants to give feedback, you can email the school committee at the address found on the website or myself, and we'll be happy to hear any feedback in advance of a vote. But I think the School Wellness Advisory Committee did an excellent job distilling what's a really big lot of different regulations and things into something more comprehensible. And I really want to commend Ms. Freeman and Dr. Pratt for their leadership in moving this forward. And again, recognize Dr. McGee's influence as a member of the school committee. It is a good example of sort of a coalition partnership with parents as well as others. And I think that some of the elements of this and how we might advance it forward when this comes to a vote on June 8th I'll have some more comments about maybe some initial steps we could take towards instituting some of these pieces as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
And moving forward to our next agenda item in finance and operations, we are looking at a hopeful vote for the acceptance of the creation of the Allison Lustig Memorial Trust. And I see we have Mr. Collins with us as well this evening. Ron and Charlotte Lustig, formerly of Shrewsbury, have been honoring the memory of their daughter Allison, a Shrewsbury High School graduate who was killed in an automobile accident in 1999 while attending college at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, through a yearly scholarship for Shrewsbury High School senior. But in order to facilitate this in the future, a trust agreement has been devised that I understand maybe Mr. Collins, you can help to walk us through about how we'll be managing these funds and continuing the scholarship in their behalf.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Heffernan. So this is, I should have referenced a policy matter, whereas the gift is a greater amount than $5,000 in accordance with the school committee policy. A vote is required. We have created several of these trusts in past years, and it is a formal agreement. That the format was actually established by a former school committee member, Chris Mena, who's also very expert in trust agreements. So we still thank him for his expertise that he lent in providing this template. So Ron and Charlotte Lustig, as you mentioned, had a daughter, Allison, who was a Shrewsbury High School graduate and was unfortunately killed by an automobile while attending UMass Amherst in 1999. At that time, they created a bank account to fund a scholarship in their daughter Allison's name, which has been funded on an ongoing basis at Shrewsbury High School each year. The Lustigs have since moved out of Massachusetts, and I believe that their intention is to shift the remaining funds, of which there are approximately $20,425 over to the district, so that we would manage the funds on their behalf and then just continue the annual scholarship as it has been awarded each year. So we've arranged this trust agreement for a 10-year period, which is the traditional term that we've set these trust agreements up for, and it would then provide for a very meaningful scholarship amount of approximately $2,000 each year, and then the remaining balance in the 10th and final year of the scholarship. So it would require a vote of the school committee affirmatively to accept the funds. Once the funds, provided the school committee votes in that manner, we basically take the funds, turn it over to the town treasurer. The town treasurer, who has custody of all of the funds and banking for the entire town, including the school department, would then set up a separate account specifically for the Lustig Trust, and it's an interest-earning account, and so the interest remains with that particular account. Then we request a check each year in order to provide the scholarship to the named graduating high school senior. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about this. And we certainly thank the generosity of the Lustig family for their past donations and for what they'd like to do for the future.
Thank you. Questions or comments, colleagues? No. Okay. Then at this point, we do need a vote, both to accept the donation, as was noted by Mr. Collins, and also to create the trust per the document that was in your materials tonight. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Then if not, all those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion will carry unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Collins.
Thank you.
And the next item on our agenda is approval of minutes. For those who are paying attention, we have two sets in front of us, May 4th and May 18th. I made an error in the date when we spoke 2 weeks ago, and so we didn't quite approve those correctly, so we're doing it again. And so you were provided those for May 4th at our last meeting, or your last set of packets, and May 18th more recently. Have folks had a chance to review those? Any questions or comments, corrections? If not, those can be accepted as presented as the May 4th and May 18th, 2022 minutes. And we do need to go into executive session tonight for the purposes of addressing Mass General Law 30A 21A7 to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements. Purpose 7 of open meeting law for the purposes of reviewing, approving, or releasing executive session minutes. In addition, for the purposes of addressing Mass General Law 30A 21A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of a public body, and if the chair so declares. Purpose 3, as relates to the Shrewsbury Educational Associations, Unit A or B, Shrewsbury Paraprofessional Association, and the Cafeteria Workers Association. And additionally, for the purposes of addressing Mass General Law 30A 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparations for the negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, secretarial, administrative support positions, information technology positions, non-union administrators, and/or superintendent of schools. Purpose 2, for which deliberation in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and a return to open session only for the purposes of adjourning for the evening.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. And a roll call vote is required. Ms. Boucher?
Aye.
Ms. Fritz?
Aye.
Mr. Palich?
Aye.
Mr. Wensky?
Aye.
And myself, aye. I thank you and good night.